Good question. So the next one we'll talk a little bit about the new consumer behavior. So consumers now are inundated with content, with social media, with TV. People are watching TV and looking at Facebook at the same time, and they're seeing ads all over the place. And then you're watching YouTube, watching Hulu. You're seeing ads all over the place. So how do you break through? And also how those how the social media and how the new shopping experiences have changed the behavior and the expectations of consumers. So today, there are tremendous change from a retail type industry. There are a lot of different things that have been impacted by what Amazon's been doing, what Uber's been doing, and what other online companies are doing. So everybody's expecting, if you order something on Amazon, you're expecting it in a day or two. If you get it, in 3 days, you're pissed off. If you get it in 1 day, you're excited. It's fun to get that package in 1 day. If you order an Uber, you're excited when they come in within 3 minutes, as they said. You get pissed when they get at 5. We're excited when they come in at 2. So there's a set of expectation that's being built around convenience and around push button, and then things happen. And all these companies are actually doing the same thing. So for example, let me go back. So for example, right now, Texas, the future of brick. So 86% of retailers still take 86% of the business is done in the retail, but 63% of the decisions are done online. So when someone is going to buy something, they've already made that decision by researching online. And one of the examples that we see on real estate is that people are starting to do the research way ahead of time before they interact, even with the Zillows and the Realtor.coms and all the other portals. So they're spending about 2 or 3 months just researching how to get a loan, how would I qualify, how would I buy, and all that stuff. What happened? There you go. So people are all about frictionless experience. It's all about convenience. It's all about keeping that transaction smooth. So one of the things that we see sometimes is that you will have most people will have tracking numbers on open house signs, for example. Those open house signs don't take the numbers don't take text, for example. So people want to call, want to text, want to go online, so they will interact with you the way they want to interact with you. So we have to have multiple different ways to give them options to engage with us. So as an example, in all our listings, we have 3 signs. So we have the regular sign, we have another sign, a kind of a voice pad sign that gives out automated information in English and in Spanish, and then we have another sign that says open house every day, call for time. And who would guess which sign gets the most calls? Open house every day, yeah. Open house every day. So, but people interact a lot of different ways, and sometimes they do it 3 different ways, or there are 2 different ways. So, so we want to be able to give them all the options to be able to engage with us and interact with us, and whether they want to call us, text us, message us, and all that stuff. So that's what we're talking about. We were talking about single channel. So one of the things that I found out is that if you buy tires from Amazon, you can actually get them installed at Sears. So this is I don't know, I didn't know about this, just found out yesterday. But these are the type of things that are happening right now in the retail world, and they're impacting every other industry. So the consumers are expecting these multi-channel touches. So sometimes, for example, they might interact with you on the real estate side, but 40% of them are going to interact with the lender first. And what we found is that most of the lenders that are doing advertising online are finding out that 50% of the clients that are coming to them don't have an agent, and they're just starting. So people are going to go from take different routes, and we want to be able to be open to all those different channels. Well, I'm going back. Voice search. So voice search is very interesting. Who has an Alexa here? All right. Who's got a Google Echo? Or, well, there you go. All right, cool. Who uses Siri? All right. So all those voice search systems are actually getting fed information from tools like Yelp, for example. So Yelp is the base for all the business directories for all these tools. So a lot of people are doing these searches. You heard what's the number there? 60% of searches, 20% of them are done on voice. And that's growing exponentially. So voice is going to be the new search, meaning the new Google. People are not going to be typing, they're going to be asking who is the top realtor in city, in Costa Mesa. So how do we get them to say your name? How do we get Alexa to say your name when that question is asked? And so the best thing to do is to have your reviews on Yelp, on Google, updated. So make sure you ask your clients, make sure you ask your friends to give you some good reviews. And also help your offices with their reviews. So if you're working at an office, go on Yelp and give them a shout out. Go on Google and give them a shout out, because that helps you as well. The agents, the clients are not only searching you, but also they're searching your office, and so you want your office to look good, so it gives you a good impression. So make sure you help out your office with good reviews. So what do we do? So in terms of connecting with clients. So whether there's an open, again, I'm going to go back to open house or an online lead. Number one thing is speed. So for online leads, we want to be talking to them within, this is a Harvard study that shows, that came across 50 different industries, that shows that you lose pretty much 10 times the amount of leads if you call after 5 minutes. I honestly think it should be less than a minute. That's how fast we need to go, because our competitors are connecting with them fast. So it doesn't mean that you lose the lead completely, but you have a higher chance to connect. I think the next level will be the amount of calls you make, the amount of calls you make to the clients to connect. That needs to be up higher than you may think. On average, people will call 2 to 3 times and then give up on the lead. I've seen leads that we don't get connected with until after time 46 or 47. So it has to be like a consistent process where you're not thinking about it, you're just calling them all the time. You have a scheduled routine, scheduled process that you do, that you call in all the time to make sure that you connect with them. Like we said, sometimes they will inquire and then they'll get a text or a message, or they see something on TV and they get busy, and then you call them the next day, they're at work, you call them the next day, they're taking the kids to school, you call them the next day and the next day, and then maybe Saturday morning you connect with them, and you can set the appointment then. But it's just not taking the fact that they're not responding as a rejection. They're not responding because they're just busy. They're just not in that zone yet. And if you catch them at the right time, you have a high likelihood of converting that lead into an appointment. Go ahead.
Are you leaving messages on all those calls?
We do leave messages. So if we're calling 3 times in one day, we'll leave 1 message. Yeah, if we're calling the next day, we'll leave another one. Yes.
Okay, so I get a lead at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or midnight.
Yes.
Roadmap AI.
Yes. Yes. So the question is, I get a lead at 2 a.m. in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning. Do I call them on the spot? Yes, absolutely. That's when they're awake. That's when they're ready. So they inquired about that lead at 3 a.m. If you're awake, I'm not telling you to stay up. Don't stay up. Don't stay up. But if you're awake, if you get thirsty at 3 a.m. in the morning and you see how you just got a lead, call it. I was like, and again, a lot of times we hear, it's like, hey, I didn't think that you're gonna call me. That's great. Or sometimes they just start talking as if, they're thinking that it's a call center, or they're thinking it's a big organization that's responding to them. Any questions? All right. So speed to lead, that's very important. Then the next level is the amount of contact, the amount of calls that we make is very key, is critical. Not to give up on those leads and not to take it personally if they don't pick up. And just try multi-touches, multiple different times of the day. Going back. And yeah, so you can see that most of the reps, they give up very quickly. You know, I mean, after the 6th call, less than 10% are calling them back. So this is mostly probably, this is because across different industries, I can tell you that in real estate, most buyers that are, or sellers that are online, they're using multiple databases. They're on that multiple databases already. They're using multiple different tools. They might be using Redfin or Realtor.com or Zillow or our website. So just be aware that you're essentially in competition with other people, even if it's your SOI client. Have you had an SOI client who end up going in talking to someone on the phone? Have you ever had a listing in Orange County and then someone comes in with a client, with an agent from Burbank or from Simi Valley? Have you had that before? Okay, so most likely that's an online guy. That's someone who just, on the phone, got that person and called them fast. Most likely that person was looking at your property on some site, and it just landed on someone else's database, and they drove all the way from Burbank to show that house and write that offer. So just be aware that whether it's a client that's a sphere of influence, or it's a client that came online, or it's a client that came on an open house, they're most likely on 3, 4, 5 different databases, and they're being called on by other agents. So this is where it's important that when you interact with them the first time, you have to wow, you have to be on point, you have to be strong, and you have to give value, and you have to showcase your knowledge, your local knowledge, to be able to convert that person. And it's like, okay, I can sense the difference between this agent and that person that's coming from all the way from Burbank or some other. I'm just picking on Burbank right now. All right, best time to call. Best time to call is whenever people are in the car. So if they're going to work, coming back from work, those are the best time to call. So 7 to 9, 4 to 7, those are the best times. We call 12 to 2 as well, lunchtime. And then Saturday morning, I find it myself personally is the best time ever. Of all the days, of all the times, Saturday morning between 9 and 1 is the best time to call. What you're gonna find is that you're gonna get a lot of inquiries, a lot of inbound. You're gonna get a lot more inbound on Sunday afternoon, so anywhere between 4 or 7. If you are spending money on marketing, if you're in business, that 4 to 7 on Sunday, you should have your phone on you. It should be because that's when you get the best leads. Sunday, this is also, by the way, the day where all the real estate websites have the most traffic during that time on Sunday, because essentially it's open house time. People are seeing signs everywhere. People are doing open house, so they're essentially immersed in the whole real estate, feel. So they go online, they get excited about properties. And contacts me. All right, so here's essentially the best days to connect. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, those are the best days. So you find that most people will actually email as opposed to call. So you have a huge advantage if you make calls. If you're not afraid of the phone, you have a huge advantage because the majority of your competitors are not. 77% of all leads that were submitted never received a call, and that's essentially across other industries. Real estate actually, by the way, Zillow found out that 50% of their leads don't get a call ever. So those are people that are spending $150 to $300 on a lead, and they're not calling them. So this is why they switched to the concierge mode, where they're actually calling their own leads and then connecting people with an appointment. Only 28% of leads were first responded by phone. Even Even though calls have been higher response rates, more likely to turn into sales. Yeah, so if you call, you're gonna have a higher chance to close. All right, tools. So we have, you know, again, when you're, we talked about the incubation time. Every client is different. We talked about CRMs. Every agent business is different. So based on whether you're a prospector or a networker or a converter, you're going to use different tools. And you don't want to overcomplicate it, and you want to use something that you actually you're going to utilize every day. So anything that's, we get these questions about CRMs all the time. The best CRM is the one that you use, and the one that you're going to be comfortable with. You start small, you don't spend too much money, and then you move up that way. I can't even remember the one that we started. We started with the one that was free, Insightly, and then we moved up to Contactually, and then we went from Contactually to, I think we tried Top Producer for a minute, and then we got out of that, and then we went to Commissions Inc. And that's essentially the route we took. When you're talking, who's familiar with the DISC? All right, cool. So one of the most powerful tools in conversion is understanding the personality style. So when you're communicating with your clients, whether via phone or in person or even via text, you're communicating to the person's style. People, you don't want to treat people like you want to be treated. You want to treat people like they want to be treated. So if you're talking to, so there are 4 different styles. So high D person is a dominant person. They're direct. They're firm. The way I usually differentiate between them is that their number one fear is a waste of time. So they hate wasting time. So when you get a D on the phone, they're very direct, very quick. One of the first things that we add to the script is, before I forget, I want to make sure that you know that we're not going to waste your time. That we're going to show you all the homes that fit exactly what you're looking for, and we're not going to run around showing you stuff that doesn't make sense to you. And that just just gives them the feeling that you understand them, that you're connecting with them, and that you are the person that we want to work with. Same thing with a high I personality. It's an outgoing person, a bubbly person. You can hear that on the phone very quickly, or you can see it in person. They're wearing a lot of yellows and reds and colors and pinks. So that's a high I personality. Their number one fear is not to be liked. And so they want to be loved. They want to be liked. So the first thing you do, and they don't want it to be boring. So the first thing we do is like, you know what? You sound like a fun person to hang out with. I'm so excited to go shopping for homes with you. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna look at some fabulous homes. It's gonna be fun. If it's a high S personality, so these 4 personality profiles, which the numbers are, 8% of the population is high D, about 12% of the population is high I, about 40%, about 44% is high S, and is about 36% is high C. So you're going to deal with a lot more S's and C's than I's and D's. But if you find the I's and D's, those are great clients because they move fast. They make decisions very quickly, and they would buy. You're not going to show them a ton of houses before they buy. So if you get someone who's obnoxious on the phone and pushing you, get excited. It's a good client. It's a good client. So don't turn off. Get excited about that client. High S personality, they just don't want to, be messed with. They just want to, they want things to be safe. Yeah, you can hear on the phone when you ask them what they want, and they will tell you what they don't want. So if you talk to someone and the first thing they say is what they don't want, that's a high S right away. And so what you want to communicate is that you're going to take care of them, that you're going to hold their hand through the process. There's going to be no pressure. Whether they buy in 2 months or 2 years, it's okay with me. We're going to make sure that we go with your own, on your own pace. So that's a high S personality. They tend to buy, they just tend to do a little bit slower, make decisions a little bit slower. And a high C is an analytical person. You just got to give them a lot of information, a lot of data. So right away you want to tell them, their fear, number one fear is to mess up, is to make the wrong decision. So you want to tell them right away that you're going to give them all the information, you're there for them, you're going to give them all the data, all the tools, you're going to empower them with all the data and tools to be able to make the right decision. You're going to cross all the I's and dot all the I's and cross all the T's and make sure that everything is done correctly.